This is my promise right now. I'm gonna be something, you know? And right now I'm working on this running thing, and I'm out here every single day by myself. .646, going a little too fast. Just feel like pretty relaxed though. Feels nice and easy. I'm cruising my body, not working super hard. What's up guys, my name's Elijah, and this is the story of my first ultramarathon. So I'm going to take you all the way back to summer of 2018. I just finished my sophomore year at Chapman University and decided that I was not going to be going back to school in the fall. I went to Europe for a month and went to 6 different countries with some of my closest friends and made some amazing memories. Came back feeling super inspired and ready for the next chapter of my life, but also was left feeling like I had something to prove, not to someone else or any other person in particular, because I've never been the kind of person that valued other people's opinions of me, but more I felt as though I had something to prove to myself, and also wanted to remind myself that if I was willing to work hard towards something, I could accomplish whatever I wanted. I remember being online scrolling through YouTube and seeing an ultra running video. I had always heard things and seen pictures of ultra running, but I had never seen an actual POV video of someone running a race, running an ultra marathon. I remember thinking it was one of the coolest but also gnarliest things I had ever seen. And after 3 or 4 hours straight of looking at these videos, I knew that that was something I wanted to do. The decision just to run an ultra, however, is the easy part. What came next, that would be the hard part. Training for the Ultra was one of the most intense, brutal, and unforgiving processes I've ever been through. Started off pretty slow, 70 to 75 miles a week with a few 15-mile runs per week, but I knew that if I was going to be able to get through this 100 kilometers and have it in my legs, I was going to have to up the training big time. And so I did. Monday morning, about to go for my first run of the week, going for 115 miles this week. Alright, just finished a nice easy 11, first run of the day. I'll go back and double. Number 2 done. So we got 6 miles. Just finished 13 miles. And it looks like a storm's about coming. It started to rain. Look at that sunset. It's gonna be easy miles really from here on out for the rest of the week. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, probably like 13, 15, but we're on track to get that 115. 20-mile runs, 25-mile runs, 30-mile runs, you name it, I did it. Trails, roads, uphill, downhill, rain or shine. It was an absolute grind. I worked at my restaurant Friday, Saturday, and Sunday mornings, and besides that, it was pretty much run, eat, sleep every single day for about 6 months straight. Looking back, I might have overdone the training a little bit, but I was so happy through all of it, confident, and just really content that all the training and hard work I was putting in then was going to pay off come February at the Black Canyon 100K in Arizona. The days leading up to the race had me feeling just so anxious, nervous, but also just excited to get out there and showcase all the hard work I had done. Made the drive up to Arizona 6 hours. It was pouring rain the entire time, but we managed to have a lot of fun. It was a really great time. I had a 3:30 a.m. wake up the day of the race, so I got to bed early. After what felt about 2 hours of sleep, my alarm went off and it was time to go. On the outside, I may have seemed calm and collected, but I was so nervous the day of the race. My adrenaline was just pumping, the butterflies were in my stomach. That feeling you get before a race was just, it was that, but intensified times 10. We drove to the course, it was still dark out, and it was actually snowing on the day of the race. It was very, very cold. So after a really long, slow, and steady warm-up, a really long porta potty line that only left me about 30 seconds to spare before the gun, I lined up towards the front. That's when it really hit me that the last 6 months of all the hard work, dedication, focus I'd put in was about to be put to the test over the next 8 long, grueling hours.
Three, two, one. Let's go, Eli! Let's go, Elijah. You got it, baby.
What happened next over the next 62.5 miles were some of the most brutal but also most beautiful things I think I've ever been through in my entire life. It took me a few miles just to settle in and find my rhythm, but really quickly the nerves went down and I was doing it. Yeah, I was in my first ultramarathon. It was so insane. I went through 20 miles in about 2.5 hours. I had no idea if that was fast or slow because it was my first ultra, but I knew for sure that I had a very long day ahead of me. Miles 20 through 30 had a few rough patches, but managed to get through them. 36 miles is when I met up with my good friend Lars, who was going to pace me through the last marathon. And let me tell you, the games your mind plays with you when you're 36 miles into a race and you realize that you have an entire marathon to go after that, you are just... I couldn't even fathom it at that point. I was already in so much pain, but had to keep going and grind through it. Mile 40 is when the real battle began. It just, my legs were shattered. They felt like they'd been hit with a sledgehammer. It was the absolute most intense physical pain I think I've ever felt in my life. Mile 50 is when something happened to me that I had never felt before in my life. I began to just bawl out crying. I was crying intensely. On the inside, my body was saying, "Why are you crying? Like, nothing's sad, nothing's wrong." But on the outside, I literally just could not stop crying. Up until that point, I had never felt anything like that in my life, and since then, I still have never felt that feeling. It was just an extraordinary and amazing moment. I wish I could describe it to you. I guess you guys are gonna have to run an ultramarathon or go through some other insane activity or crazy race to feel that, but yeah, it was beautiful. Last 5 miles or so, kind of got a second wind. I have no idea how, but managed to split, I think, 730 miles for the last 5. Crossed the line, and I remember looking for my mom. I couldn't find where she was. Finally found her eventually, gave her a big hug. A few more tears were shed, but I was just so happy. Immediately when I crossed the line, my legs gave out. I couldn't walk another step. I hobbled my way over to a full chair. It wasn't even mine. I honestly just took an unoccupied chair and sat there. Had a few people interview me from Brooks. But yeah, I was immobile at that point. I sat there and I was just in such an intense pain. Sometimes when you're running, you don't really realize the pain you're in. Well, I was definitely in a lot of pain during the run, but sometimes after the run is when the pain really starts. And that's when it actually hit me so hard. The ride back to California that night post-race was so brutal. I couldn't even walk, my legs were so done. I remember stopping at a rest stop on the way home to go to the bathroom, and it was one of the most excruciating things walking about 50 feet towards the bathroom. I guess that's how you kind of know how you went all out, so to speak, in a race. I know you guys are thinking probably like, what the heck, like he didn't even have any footage of the race, really? I know, I'm sorry. My mom was super nervous during the race, so she couldn't really film, and the person that did a lot of the filming before and after the race was my buddy Lars, who paced me through the other half. Not really a ton of opportunities to film, so I'm sorry about that. I just thought this would be a cool story to share with you guys and really inspire you, and just to remind everyone out there that if you're willing to put in the work towards something that you love, you can accomplish whatever you want. And also to remind you that the process should be just as good, if not better, than the product, whatever you're chasing. I think the process is so important, and if you're not loving the process, I think the product eventually will also disappoint you. So if you guys like this type of video and want to know more about my running history, like how I started from the very beginning as a freshman in high school, let me know and I'd be more than happy to make a video about that. If anyone out there has a goal that they're thinking about pursuing or are already pursuing, I implore you and I encourage you, keep doing what you're doing, working hard, grinding at it, and I promise you eventually you will get to where you want to be. but you got to be willing to work for it. Please hit the like button, and if you wouldn't mind, consider subscribing to the channel. That would mean so much to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of you so much. As always, be good humans, do good things, search for happiness. Peace.
Thank you.